also, I just love, the fight that is just continuing all the way into the office. And the Colombia situation is the perfect example where the people being booted out of the country, that first round of people, are the criminals, right? Not for the crime of illegal immigration, but on top of committing or being accused of a crime while in the United States. And I love JD Vance sitting opposite, one of 400 boring people in the Access old school media, and he utters the words that I know just filled your heart with joy, was when they just asked him the same question for the 800th time. He said, I don't care.
And that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
I love that. I love just whack
care,
him away.
Margaret.
Ta-da!
I don't really care, Margaret. Too bad. He speaks for us all. That meme is going to be with us for a while. She could not have beclowned herself worse. I mean, she just made an absolute fool out of herself, demanding to know why he hadn't solved the economy problems in the first 5 days. Like with an executive order. It's just a complete moron. Just what a wonderful foil for him. Choosing her to sit across from was actually brilliant, like most of what JD does. She made an idiot out of herself. And, all of the Sunday anchors trying to play the little heartstrings for the murdering child rapists that Tom Homan, our border czar, is kicking out of the country right now. Like, we really don't care. We don't care. She was trying to make the point of well, it's not clear when that one terrorist you were trying to kick out was radicalized. Was he radicalized before he got here or once he... That's where he said, I really don't care, Margaret. I don't want that man in school or near my children or yours. And I think that's how most Americans feel. We're turning into Australia, Paul, when it comes to our borders. It's a thing of beauty. This is what we've been hoping for all along. Finally, somebody with the stones to kick people out. Get out. The Colombians sent us 200,000 of their absolute worst. These are not their best and brightest who graduated from elite universities and really just want to chip in and invent great things for the good old US of A. They're terrorists, they're criminals, they're murderers, they're child rapists. Get out, go home. We have enough of our own problems and criminals here. We can't spare another 200,000 seats for the Colombians. So they dump their problem on us. Tom Homan finds them. We shove them on 2 planes to go back to Colombia. And the nerve of this president to say, I'm not taking them. Oh, you're taking them, sir.
Obviously, there's a way that this can be done. Where, financial settlement, a little bit of agreement between the two countries. But if they're going to play it the hard way, Trump's going to be ringing whoever makes parachutes and say, have you got 12 million of them? Because I've got a plan for the people that are in the country. Yeah. And also, when you were saying about Australia, right? There is an absolute clear difference of legal immigration, fill out the forms, pass the test, and the illegal immigration. The whole problem is the illegal immigration, but the left deliberately tries to pretend, there's no difference between Albert Einstein, a refugee, and the guy from MS-13. No, there's plenty, right? And there are the bad faith actors who are trying to, gin up. I don't know who they're trying to fire up, but Selena Gomez, actress, who cares? But the reason I mention this is that I think you said today she's got 140 million people on Instagram, and she decides
422 million.
Wow. So this is her sphere of influence, and she's deciding to cry up a storm.
All my people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do.
There's 2 things about this I wanted to ask you. Clearly, this person is nuts. But secondly, isn't the sign of how disingenuous these people are is think about when the last time you cried in real life. Would you have even been aware of how to turn on your phone, let alone aim yourself at the camera? Normal people don't do that. Performers do that.
No, it's so humiliating.
Yeah.
Most people with a touch of dignity, and I've been on the air, the worst ever was during the Newtown massacre of 26 first graders while I was pregnant and already the mother of 2 other children. the dignified person tries to hold back the tears because they know that they have something to do. If you're in front of the camera, you're there for a reason. Somebody thought your voice was important for some reason. So you owe them an obligation to share it. It's not to say you should be some emotionless troll the entire time you're on the air, but that's the normal person's instinct, is to approach any sort of public messaging with a touch of dignity. That's one of the reasons why the Lauren Sanchez naked boobs were so offensive at the inauguration. No dignity. But this woman has decided to manufacture tears to try to work herself up, as an actress might before a scene that could potentially be, say, Oscar worthy, and try her best to turn on the waterworks in front of the camera.
Also, the thing about her performance that is particularly cynical is she's in a movie that is making a surge to become the best picture. Let's not bore everyone. So she's obviously trying to get herself in the news because the little subset of people who decide the Oscars, that's, again, an insight into the performance and just how lowbrow these people can be. But at the more serious end of things, I was listening to a story today on Steve Bannon's show where he was talking about in Chicago, how there are people who are currently in jails that are being kept in jail because, once their jail term finishes, due to be deported. Why? Because they're illegals, right? There's like 300 of them in one particular jail, but the local officials won't let them out of jail because they don't want them to be deported from the country, and that would end up being a Trump win. Do these people understand that the mayor of Chicago or the governor of Illinois is not going to win this fight? They are not going to win this fight. And why are they trying to protect these people?
Ideology. I mean, they're sick. This has been the driving force behind leftist policies for years now, for years. There's a clip going all around the internet today on X of Obama saying, if you're in this country illegally and you commit a crime, you're going to be deported. And so that used to be, as recently as, 2012, leftist thinking too. Like, we used to be on the same page that if you came into this country, and yes, understanding that in most of the cases they've committed a crime by coming unlawfully. Some people come lawfully and then just overstay their visas. But the people who sneak into the country have already committed a crime. But let's just say you're here lawfully, you overstay your visa, and now you commit a crime. The point is, most of the country agreed for most of our history those people would have to go. It's been since late term Obama into Trump, who's hefty doses of honesty about the immigrant problem were not welcome, and then into Biden, who just basically lectured everybody on how if you don't want open borders, you're a racist bigot, and they submitted to it. That we've completely abandoned sane thinking about who we want our kids growing up with, how we want our neighborhoods to be, and I guess the media, these top Democrat politicians, they're the last vestiges of that line of thinking that we've all been dealing with for all these years. But the American populace has risen up, as Trump and his defenders have been saying. He ran on this. I mean, was there anything he ran on more than immigration? Not that I can remember. He told everybody he was going to deport them. He said he was going to have he was going to use the military, and he was going to deport all of the people who came under Joe Biden, and that he was going to close the border. So Trump may not have a mandate for every piece of his agenda. I think he does, but I can see the argument that, okay, he won, but it wasn't like the greatest landslide ever. But he definitely has a mandate on immigration, which was his number one issue and which has majority support across all parties right now. So yeah, they're either going to get on board or they're going to get voted out of office. It's their choice.
Yeah, so the reason we're talking to you today is because RFK Jr. Begins his process of making his way towards the Health and Human Services Secretary job. Pete Hegseth was able to get up as Defence Secretary, so you've got to imagine that there'll be Democrat votes maybe to replace one or two or three Republicans who might decide to roll their eyes. What are the stakes for this week, and what does RFK represent? Because we're going to hear a lot about, this personal life, and he slept with this person and a bear. Tell us about what's actually. He didn't sleep with a bear, by the way. Just there's a story. Anyway,
no, she just cut off a bear's head after it was already dead. Just facts first on this program. he represents the same thing Tulsi Gabbard, who's up for DNI, Director of National Intelligence, represents, and the same thing Pete Hegseth represents, and the same thing Pam Bondi at DOJ and Kash Patel at FBI represent, which is change. Change. The way we've been doing things hasn't been working for the vast majority of Americans. And if you want a different result, you have to try a different approach. That's what Trump is. That's what Trump's top agents are. That's what his cabinet is for the most part. There's a couple of exceptions perhaps, but overall, we're going to try to do things differently. And therefore, these people will not fit the mold of everybody who was here before. You're not going to get different results if you keep doing the same thing. I couldn't care less about RFKJ's marital issues, his drug issue when he was in college. The man's 70. Weird Kennedyisms and his bear situation in Central Park. I couldn't care less. You know what I care about? I care about the fact that childhood disease has skyrocketed in the past 30 years. Autism has skyrocketed in the past 30 years. Cancers among minors and young people, like 30-year-olds, has skyrocketed as of late. That I care about.
And I can't wait to watch it. You are at the absolute heart of everything, and everything in the US is the heart of the world at the moment. So awesome to talk to you. See you later, Rockstar. See you next week.